With September being a slower month for product, I don't think we have any actual new releases coming out in September for the game. People have been targeting their money elsewhere in anticipation of the Banlist, in anticipation of Megatins, Burst of Destiny, Brothers of Legend. There's a lot of stuff coming in the next few months, and we're going to take a look at it all on today's Ion Market. Alright, first things first, I just want to give a quick shout out to the winner of our giveaway from last week's Ion Market. I did a randomizer. The Rooters was the one who won. Again, you'll be winning a playset of Beat Trooper cards that will be an Ultra Rare Invincible Atlas, an Ultra Rare Beat Trooper Sting Lancer, and a Super Rare Beat Trooper Formation. Go ahead and leave a comment down below on this video if you want, or send me a DM on Facebook or Instagram, and I can give you the details on how we'll get that out to you. I can mail out your prizes. We will have another giveaway coming up later this week. It will be on the Friday video, so stay tuned for that. If you guys are not subscribed already, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel so that you can stay up to date with all of that. First of all, Magical Musket Cross Domination very interestingly has spiked in price a ton, and of note, there has been an extreme amount of sales of this card over the past 3 days. You can see the trend in price where it was like $5 and now it's up to like there was a sale for 11 and 8, 9. Very interesting. I know Magical Musketeers have gotten hype over over time, but I did not expect to see this randomly going up, and I definitely like the card, but I truly don't know the reason. If anyone does know the reason, definitely let me know. It looks like there's been a few other Magical Musketeer cards that got picked up as well, with Desperado, Last Stand, Dancing Needle, all having really low quantities. So again, I don't know exactly what the reasoning is on those, but if you were interested in picking that up as a rogue deck to play, just be aware there are very limited quantities. And given that it's Spirit Warriors, I have no idea if there's any reprint on the horizon. We've only seen reprints of Starfire and Casper in the Dual Overload, I believe it was. And then one of the 6 Samurai monsters, Fuma, from this set also got a reprint in last year's Dual Overload as well. So that's just one of those things that you don't see this set revisited a ton. Maybe that will necessitate something, but yeah, Magical Muskets have definitely been targeted for buyouts. Not sure why, but I wanted to start with that. Now, as we head into Burst of Destiny in late October, Despia has been significantly hyped. As a matter of fact, there was a Despia Darklord deck getting a lot of hype. People have talked about it quite a bit. The Fusion from Dawn of Majesty is actually down pretty substantially to about $4. It was 8 to 9 at one point. I do think that's a pretty solid bottom out price if you were looking to pick this up. I don't think it's going to go much lower, but you could probably grab it at, I think, probably 2 copies for the deck at most and stay under that $10 mark. Same for Dramaturge of Despia here. This is another one that has dropped down to about $3 to $4 after being closer to 9 to 10 and really trying to push that with the initial hype. I would say if you're interested in grabbing this, to pick them up now, because they will likely rise as Burst of Destiny gets closer, because people are really hyped on that deck and there's just a decent window of time now before anything happens with them. So I think people tried to buy these out early. It didn't quite stick. Now there's larger listings. I would say you could probably grab them and be safe. Ghost Mourner and Moonlit Chill keeps going up and is very low in quantities at 23 copies, some of which are foreign, so those don't even really count. Cheapest is $25 from Luxury Gaming. I do like the card. I know it started to see some more play, but I do think there's a good chance it's eligible for reprint in the Megatins. Once we know the Megatin stuff, I think you'll see a lot of these prices sort of start to adjust, but I think it's a good card. I'd just be careful of how much you're spending, unless you just really want the original rarity. It does have a Starlight, so that Starlight's always going to be the highest rarity, but a lot of times we've seen stuff like Ash Blossom and Ghost Ogre, despite getting, Ultimate Prince for Ghost Ogre, its secret's still worth a lot, so it could be a decent investment that will pay off in the long run, but I would just say be smart about it. Live Twin Kill Frost has broken the $10 mark and is also very low in quantities. This is a really good card and ironically allows access to Totally Awesome in Live Twins, which is weird. But this is just a decent extender as well as giving you draw power. I like the card a lot. It's good to see Lightning Overdrive getting some extra boosts in terms of value within the set. I think you had opportunities to get this very cheap and now it is high. If Live Twin does end up making an impact like people expect it to in the meta with the Link 4, then we may be having a different conversation. So just food for thought. I don't expect this to go too much higher, but it's certainly possible. Anti-Human Intelligence Messiah has bottomed out to about $2 as well. I do think this is a good card. I don't know how good right now, but the Pendulum Effect is alright against decks that do want their spells and traps to go to grave, and the actual monster effect is pretty solid too. So if we get things like Electromite back and Pendulum start to get more presence, this may be a card people look to, and I will tell you that getting it at around $2 or $3 is not going to be the worst. I personally have a couple play sets of it, and I do think it may end up going up over time. It's just that's a really cheap price for a card with some potential, so you may be interested. Adamantipator Risen Draglight is up a bit. I didn't notice it was almost $7, $8, depending on where you look. It's been selling a lot and is lower in quantities. It's a really good card for anything that can go into level 8s, but specifically anything playing waters. I think we know some Secret Slayer stuff is slated for the Megatins, so there's a good chance he could appear in there, maybe as an Ultra or a Super. I don't know what they would do, but it's just worth noting. I do think this will, maintain a higher rarity status, and Secret Slayers as a whole has become a set that's really, really difficult to track down now with very few quantities, and obviously it's not super worth it to buy this and crack it unless you just want to open it for fun. So this could be worth grabbing, but it could also be reprint eligible, and we'll have to see what happens. Destiny Hero Celestial is up a lot. Is 12 listings here. Looks like he's about 35 at the cheapest for near mint, and if you're looking on the English copies, it's about 40. This was a short printed card in Destiny Soldiers. I believe it was 1 in 3 boxes, give or take. So it's not the easiest card to get, and it's going to be played as part of the package with a new Destiny Hero monster. But it does have a cheaper alternative print, being a Ultra in Dual Overload, as well as a common in the Legendary Hero decks. Somewhat lower quantities, but I think you can get this easily if you want. Just be aware that if you are going high rarity, you're going to be paying a little bit more. Beat Trooper Scout Buggy, the sneak preview one, is up to about $40, which is a lot. It's just that these are raffle prizes now. They're not guaranteed promos like it used to be back in the day. You can still get the original Secret Rare from Dawn of Majesty for about $22, so it's not like it's extremely hard to get. But be note that there are only 30 listings, so as far as secrets go, it is relatively low in quantities. I think the Secret Rare is a pretty solid investment. Some people like the Ultra because of its rarity, so you can pick and choose, obviously. Destiny Hero Dasher, all versions spiked over this past week. About $8, $7, between that range for all 3 copies here. The Ultimate Rare is, astronomically high. I think it's like over $150 for first edition. But again, this is a pretty pricey common. It could get a reprint at some point in maybe like Battles of Brothers of Legend. I could see maybe being like an Ultra in there. Just to get it more accessible out on the market, but this was not in the Legendary Hero deck, so it did not get a reprint in the past few years. I think Legendary Collection 2 would have been the most recent one, and that came out in 2012, so it's probably due for a reprint at this point. Maybe a foil upgrade for those who don't want or can't afford ultis. Checking in on Quagga Hercules, still very expensive. Light play on Limb sold for $325 the other day. Looks like the cheapest right now is $300, but that's a French one. Obviously, it doesn't really matter all that much because it's a normal monster, but people typically want the English copies, and they do tend to be a lot more. This is almost $500. That is insane, guys. Just want to point that out. The rare version, obviously a bit cheaper, but still around $100. This desperately needs a reprint soon, and I hope that Konami takes note of that. Doomdozer is starting to see some interest too, with the insect stuff getting a lot of support. Low quantities for the Gold Series version, around, I don't even know, $13 for the cheapest near mint. And I think his other versions, being Dark Revelation 4, I mean, that one's just not even worth your time, given how scarce that's going to be. And then $7 on the cheapest for the Shadow of Infinity. So this is a good card. I don't know, how much it's going to see play in Beat Trooper, but insects as a whole are getting a lot of hype right now, so we'll see what happens. Dusted Gold, I just wanted to point out, has finally moved a little bit down from 250. It's about 200. That's still insane. I'm really hopeful this will be in the Speed Duel GX box. Topic for a future video, though. Draco Berserker of the Tenyi is up to about $4 to $5 from last year's Megatins. It's a good card, and I think with the new Worm support, especially Sword Soul coming out, it may see a lot more play. You can get the ultra rare version from Chaos Impact, but that's also around $4 to $5. I would recommend going the higher rarity personally, unless you have a preference with the style of rarity. Rare Fish is up a lot, again, with Sharks and other water-based decks seeing play with Ready Fusion now. There are just not, the listings aren't there for it, but $7.50 plus $1 shipping is the cheapest common, and this is just a good card in general for Ready Fusion, being able to make Bahamut and Toad and whatnot. It might benefit from a reprint as well, to be totally honest with you. No pun intended. Humongous, the Sticky String Kaiju Super Rare, is up to about $20. and 14 listings, so it's pretty low. This is OTS 4, so it's been years since this came out. He does have a couple rare prints, but those are pretty pricey too. The Mega Pack ones, they're about $10. The other ones are about $6 or $7. Insects as a whole are all the rage right now, and people are buzzing about them, so we'll see what happens with him. Doppel Warrior Super Rare Legendary Collection 5Ds automatically means it's going to be pricey. It's the highest rarity print of this card, and it's about $16 with the Synchron decks getting some hype. I don't know if they're going to be any good, so I wouldn't invest a ton of money into it personally, but it's definitely something to consider. And lastly, talking about the Darklord stuff with Despia getting hyped, there were a lot of targeted buyouts. The Darklord YuGiOh back from Duelist Saga is at the cheapest $10 for near mint, and there are very few listings. This is a foolish burial for the deck that triggers on normal or special, so it's definitely nice to have the ability to summon him when your deck can brick on occasion with a lot of high-level monsters. The first Darklord from Rise of the Duelist has seen a ton of sales, only 44 listings, $1.50 on this guy. I'd be surprised if he was not included in the Megatins, and think he would look amazing as a Prismatic Secret Rare, so it'd be really cool to see him get a foil bump. But this is a good fusion monster, and given Despia's ability to do fusions pretty easily, I could see why people are chasing down this card. And Darklord Ixchel from Destiny Soldiers, super low, 10 quantities, near mint. Cheapest is $20 with a few light plays around 15. I don't know what light play means. It's TCG player, so remains to be seen there. It's at maximum gold, so you don't have to worry about getting them, but if you want a foil print, both copies are pretty low. The Battles of Legend and Relentless Revenge is a bit more accessible for sure, but still around $8, which is up a bit from where it was before. So the market's been going kind of wild. It's not a ton to talk about right now in September because there is less products coming out to shift things up, but as you can see, people are still making their targeted picks and choices, and I think it's going to be interesting to continue to follow. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching this week's Eye on Market. Please like the video if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content, and I'll see you in the next video.